Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. So today I'm going to talk about this subject of doing the opposite in order to get better faster or make progress faster, because it applies to more than just recovery from mind body. So, brought the chair out to the back by the woods. Um, Another hot day is on its way. Still morning, but it's already in the mid to high 80s. The air is heavy. You can actually feel it. And now we got some tree service, guys. Don't know if you can hear that. All right, so do the opposite to make progress faster. And if you've been following my channel, you know that I talk about this thing that Sarno termed TMS, tension myositis syndrome, the mind-body syndrome. I have termed it perceived danger, symptoms, or pain. It's a mind-body condition. Basically, the brain's creating symptoms based on its perception that there's something dangerous happening it needs to warn you about, and symptoms are the warning. So I teach on a daily basis my thoughts, my opinions of what it takes to teach the brain to turn off these symptoms, right? And so a lot of times there's a lot of fear, and that fear oftentimes paralyzes people. They avoid things, they don't take trips, they don't go to the store, they don't leave the house, they don't leave the bed sometimes. They don't eat certain foods, and they don't do a lot of things for fear of the symptoms. And so what I have learned, and what I'd like to share today, is how sometimes doing the opposite of what our gut instinct says, which is don't do anything crazy, don't leave the house, don't do that activity, don't go there, don't take that trip. Our intuition goes, no, that's a bad idea. I'm going to get symptoms. And then this could happen, and then that could happen, then that could happen. And we play the consequences down the line. And we can really scare ourselves into not taking any action at all. And so there's this concept. I didn't make it up, but I'm just passing it along here and putting it into my words, called do the opposite. You know, if you are reluctant to go to the post office because of fear, do the opposite of what your fear is telling you. Go do it. If you're afraid to get up and do a public speech, get up and do it. Bring your fear with you, right? Because that's the way we overcome the fear. That's the way we teach the brain that this thing that we're afraid of isn't so bad. Now look, if we go out and we have a negative experience, we can go away going, oh no, I knew I shouldn't have done that. But the way to grow, the way to expand your capacity is by going out and doing more. We expect the best, step one, and if symptoms come along, we expect that we will respond the best. We respond as well as we can with clarity, certainty, calm, reassurance, allowing the symptoms to be there, being as unbothered by them as possible, ideally indifferent. Okay, so what? They're there. And all of that becomes so much easier because we have a solid foundation built, which is, I know that symptoms are created when the brain perceives danger. And as I've spoken about recently, sometimes that danger is real. You break an ankle, real danger, right? But in some cases, if your ankle just starts hurting out of nowhere, the danger is not real because our body's not that frail or easily broken that we wake up with pain that happened in the middle of the night. Like, injuries just don't work that way. And so, doing the opposite is a great way of saying to the brain, come on, I'm capable. I'm going to prove it. Let me show it to you. And by doing more, we learn that we're capable of doing that. And then we're capable of doing even more. And then even more. And that's how we get back to life, is by doing more. Doing the opposite of what our fear is telling us to do. You know, to overcome the fear, we don't sit around waiting for the fear to be gone before we can go live our lives. We do it with the fear. Bring it along. Throw it in a backpack. Throw it in your pocketbook. Throw it in your pocket. It's okay to do things with fear. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is having some fear and doing it anyway. Right? That's super important. And if you have the foundation that says, wow, I've learned what causes symptoms, and I've really concluded, and I've made the decision to accept the fact that I'm really not broken or sick. So doing the thing with fear and even with symptoms is not going to harm me. I may not enjoy it, but it won't harm me. It's not a dangerous thing for me to do. And for many of us, if you're reluctant to go out because you may feel the symptoms while you're out, for many of us, we were feeling the symptoms at home. So if you're going to feel symptoms sitting on the couch or walking to your kitchen, you may as well feel your symptoms going to a friend's house and having some fun, living your life. Shift your focus from your symptoms, fixing, fighting, monitoring, despairing. Shift it over here. Start to focus on making your life more important than these darn symptoms, which, for the most part, are false alarms. All right? So do the opposite is a great way to teach the brain that you're okay, and teach the brain by your response. Hey, symptoms came along. I went to the grocery store and I was hurting. Okay. But if I am whatever, unbothered by the symptoms, the brain's going to learn, wow, Dan went to the grocery store, symptoms happened, he wasn't very concerned about it. I guess it's not a big deal. And with time, practice, repetition, clarity, consistency is the key. Don't panic one day and be, pretty comfortable the next day mentally and emotionally. Consistency matters. So do more. With or without symptoms, do more. And if symptoms show up, okay. Be as unbothered as possible. You're not going to jump from panic to unbothered. Don't try. But each day you can be a little bit more indifferent, a little less bothered, a little more confident, a little less freaked out. And with these baby steps and continuing to expand your capacity, and look, at whatever pace makes sense for you. I talk to people a lot in the group who are like, I think I went too fast. I'm like, all right, so back off a little bit, but keep going. But try not to convince yourself that there's a solid line called too much. I don't believe we're doing too much by expanding our capacity. We're doing more, and sometimes the brain will turn on the alarm and say, are you sure about that? But that's all that's happening. It's the alarm sounding. It's up to us to go, hey, that's a false alarm. I'm okay. Symptoms can be there. I'm not bothered by them. I'm going to allow them to be there. And just know that with time, consistency, practice, built on that solid foundation of knowledge and decision that I'm okay, you're going to get there. And as I like to say, it's not just possible to get better. It's probable. It's predictable. And it's your turn, folks. Keep at it. You've got this. Love you. Bye.